Noahide Friends of Jesus of Nazareth, the preacher. This is a sort of place where, well, it's not for Pentecostals, um, it's not for Catholics, and it's not really for Protestants. Not the kind of Protestants who do christenings. You know what I mean. This is for the evangelical sort of Church of Christ sort of scene where they usually baptize adults who've repented. The sort of Christians who aren't the Pentecostal Christians, because they're not really that new bunch of Azusa Street people, but they're not really the older Protestant churches, even though Anabaptist roots are really quite old, and they trace it all the way back to Jesus in their reckoning anyway. But this is for evangelicals who are not really of the Catholic creed sort of way of things. This is, as I said, Baptist and Church of Christ and other churches which are sort of around that evangelical sort of baptizing sort of way of doing things, those sorts of Christian sorts of things. Now, Noahide Friends of Jesus Nazareth, a preacher, we're not Christians. We're Noahides. But we have the Gospel of Jesus and the Gospel of Tarsisius, and we're fond of Jesus of Nazareth, but when it comes right down to it, we're ones who obey the rules of God in the Rainbow Torah, Genesis 1:1 to 11:9. We're Noahides. We're not Christians. But we're fond of Jesus of Nazareth, and we're the kind of people who come from, if you're a Baptist who sort of doesn't believe that Jesus is Christ or the Son of God anymore, and you want to embrace Noahide faith, this is sort of where you sort of, from my offering, this is where you would fit. For the biblical Noahide faith, Karaite Noahide faith, well, this is normally the sort of place where people from those communities, where I suggest they generally end up. Noahide Friends of Jesus of Nazareth, a preacher. So if you're a Baptist who's gone into biblical Noahide or a Church of Christ member, so if Amy Grant, I think, who's in the Church of Christ, if she ended up accepting biblical Noahide faith, this is where she'd be in general, what I would suggest for her. If Rebecca St. James, who's sort of a Baptist Christian, if she sort of ended up in biblical Noahide faith, this is where I'd suggest she be. So, Baptist, Church of Christ, and churches of that sort of ilk, around that sort of level of the evangelical Christian faith. Now, there's also the place where they're going on a YouTube place. This video will be placed on a YouTube site which is connected to other things. On the Noahide Videos Bible Network channel, and that'll be the channel where the things going on there are for Noahide Friends of Jesus Nazareth Preach. Also, what's ever going on with the channel, and it's also where the channel that ends up on is also for Baptist Christians and Church of Christ Christians and evangelical Christians. There's also the ones who are still Christians as well in that fold. So, they can hang around and watch the videos and sort of associate. So they're not really blocked or anything like that. So this is sort of video information for Noahide Friends of Jesus of Nazareth, the preacher. Jeez.